right. Welcome, everybody, to Amateur Radio Roundtable. I'm Tom, W5KUB. And I keep watching over here. Katie has tried like 10 times. She almost makes it, but she's having trouble getting in. She must have some snow out there in Wyoming. But Katie, as long as you feel like it, just keep on trying. Keep on plugging away there. You know, never, 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 never give up. Winston Churchill. Okay. Hey, this show is about ham radio and amateur radio, and we'd like to welcome you out there to all of our viewers and listeners out there. If you're listening on international shortwave on 7490 on the planet, that's called WBCQ up in Monticello, Maine, would like to say thanks for joining us, and you can always join the live video show, and we also have a chat room if you just go to W5KUB.com on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, everybody do me a favor, please. Hit the subscribe button. We need everybody to subscribe. That helps us on our rankings of our shows, so please hit the subscribe button. Alan can't make it tonight. He's in the middle of a big storm up in New Jersey. We do have Rich with us from CQ to find out what's going on in CQ. And Katie, hey, I think we got Katie. Katie, are you there, Katie?
She's muted, but
I think we got Katie.
She's smiling.
She's hearing us. I see a smile. Oh, her smile froze. Nope, she's moving. She's moving. Maybe she just don't have a mic hooked up. I don't know. Let's see if I can bring Katie in. How do I do this? Let's see. There's Katie. Okay.
She's going to have to do her segment in sign language.
All right, what in the world have I got going here? Here we go. Okay. Hey, Katie, can you wave at us, Katie? If you can hear us, wave at us. There you go. Look at that. All right, she's hearing us. Katie's here with us tonight. It's just that she doesn't have a voice tonight, so I don't know what's going on. Well, Katie, stick around as long as you want to, and at some point it might start working, and then again it might get worse. So anyway,
how about now?
Hey, I hear you now. Did Dwayne get off the internet?
No, I just changed the microphone to the webcam, which is not what should normally work, but I was just trying something. My computer is just not cooperating.
Yeah. All right, let me do something here. I got to click this little box here. I got to click that little box for 3D, and that will allow you to work better here. Okay, there we go. So, you're working. You got it.
We'll see.
All right. Any snow out there tonight?
Yeah, it's snowing right now, and it's kind of wet and heavy stuff, and I think that's part of the... We've been having internet issues up here anyway, as you know from last week. But, now we've got this heavy, wet stuff going on outside, so it doesn't help any.
Yeah. Well...
Oh, sorry.
At least you made it. That's good. We thank you so much. Stick around here and join us if it gets any better, you know. And hey, join us if it gets worse. We'll stick it out here. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. So let's see. Where was I? So we've started just about 5 minutes late tonight, and we had a few little interruptions there with some internet issues, but I think we're doing okay. We're gonna have a show tonight, and it'll start rolling here pretty good. And let's go out to Glenn. Glenn Popil. How you doing, Glenn?
Oh, I'm doing good. I'm just having one of those crazy nights.
All right.
I have my backup plan.
View speaker. Okay. Wait a minute. Now we're not switching to Glenn.
Now you're not switching to me?
Well, hang on. Something is just really screwy tonight. Viewer.
Well, see, there you go. My audio works.
Yeah.
Full screen. That's not working. Boy, things are just really.
I think it's my fault.
It's gotta be one
you
of those
started
nights.
it. You started it. Oh boy,
Yeah.
that's not good either. Okay, we're going through all kinds of things here. Let's go there. Boy, it is so messed up now. It is so messed up.
I can see myself, sort of.
It is so messed up. What in the world is happening here?
Now I'm just in a little corner of my world.
Man, it is. Oh man, this is not good. Where's our engineer at tonight? I go there. I'm on speaker. Okay. I'm on speaker. Boy, what a mess tonight. It has really been a mess, hasn't it? Okay, that's right.
Yeah, you had it all working, and then you had to
We may
lock
have it
things
here.
in to keep Katie on the screen.
We may have it here in a minute. Well, all right, I need a Zoom person. How do I get this screen back to this? I'm on speaker. I'm on speaker view.
Isn't there a checkbox to say switch to active speaker or something?
That's what I've checked. Active speaker should be going full screen, but he's not.
No, you missed something somewhere.
It is really messed up. It's messed up.
I think I'm gonna bail because this is not. It's
Yeah,
buzzing in and out. So
yeah.
I'll
It's
say hi
all
to
it's all
Mike or
your
Rick.
fault.
Sorry
It's all
about
your
that.
fault. It's all your fault, Katie. I'm so sorry, Katie. We'll see you next week
Try
then.
again.
All right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah. We'll reboot the internet.
I think we're going to have to reboot the internet because something. Let's see. Well, what?
There was a South Park episode where the internet went down, and so they called in
There you go.
the guard, and a team of scientists and engineers couldn't figure it out, and so one of the kids ran up, and it was a gigantic Linksys router, about the size of a warehouse, huge, and all they did was unplug it and plug it back in again, and the internet came back.
All right, so guys, we're gonna run with. Well, let me go gallery. We're just gonna run with this picture here tonight. Our normal pictures aren't here. We're gonna run with this tonight. This is fine. So, hey, Glenn, thanks for being here, man. I don't know what you said a while ago, but let's go to let's go to Bill.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, let's go to Bill. Hey, Bill, how you doing, man?
Hey, doing good. Building solar panels.
Yeah, that's cool. I like them.
I gotta get a bunch of them ready, and I wanted to show you my favorite soldering iron. This is a Weller WX2, and here's the coolest thing. Let's say I'm going to put another tip in.
Yeah.
You just go like that, and then it's got a little audio jack, and it plugs in, and you're off with another tip.
Oh, that's slick.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
But it's expensive.
Well,
but I do a lot of work, so this is the iron for me.
Well, mine's not near that expensive, but my tip also pulls out. I don't like the way it pulls out. It doesn't plug in. It just kind of makes a mechanical connection when it goes in. And
so this is actually like an audio jack for the power.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's slick.
But it's and it's got a desolder tool along with it.
Oh, that is
really
that's
handy.
cool. All right. Well, good. All right, look, we've wasted enough time here. Let's just jump on into Rich there. I know it's getting late on the East Coast, and Rich may be wanting to go to bed. I don't know. But, Rich, let's talk about CQ next month, man. I'm interested to know what's going to be coming out to us, man.
All right. Well, we've got another great issue coming up. I hope my voice holds up through here.
Okay.
My allergies have been acting up. Before we get into next month, at the end of this month, this weekend is the CQ Worldwide DX Contest phone weekend. So propagation will be good because the CQ Worldwide makes its own. And we've got a rising sunspot cycle anyway. So be sure to get on the air and work some great DX this weekend. Coming up in the November issue of CQ, we start out in our News Bites column introducing a brand new meteor shower. I don't know if you guys have heard about this yet, called the ARIDS meteor shower. And it started showing activity in late September and peaked in early October. And it's from a comet that, what's the name of it? Comet 15P Findlay, which orbits the solar system every 6 years. And we've been going through its dust stream for quite a while now, but it has never really generated a meteor shower until now. So they're going to have to wait and see if we have another shower next year as we go through the dust stream again. But it has a name, the ARIDS, and we'll see how it does. So anybody who's into meteor scatter, you have a new opportunity there. The main part of the issue starts out with, I can't give you the call sign yet of this station, but it's from the top scoring station in the CQ Worldwide WPX contest, CW, which we have the results of in this issue, on how they did it. They entered multi-distributed, which is a new category, where you can have a bunch of different stations in different locations, all operating together, coordinated via the internet, so you don't have two signals on at one time in one band. And they put together a collection of stations and operators from several cities to just blow away the competition score-wise. It's a really fascinating story of how they organized the whole setup. And then we do have the full results of the WPXCW contest and a review of the VHQ hex beam, which the authors describe as a New England survivor. The hex beam has always been an interesting antenna. It's basically has its genesis in the loop antenna, and that gets its start from Les Moxon, G6XM. So we figured if we're going to do a hex antenna article, we should try to find something that Les Moxon did. And I found one article from him 59 years ago, and have that in our CQ Classic for November on multiband quads. Very interesting piece by a very well-known name in antennas. We've got the rules for the 2022, already the 2022 CQ Worldwide 160 meter contest, CW weekend in January, single sideband in February, and rules for the 2022 CQDX Marathon, which of course runs all year, and the logs for the 2021 Marathon are due on the 5th of January. So we'll keep that in mind. For our shortwave listeners out there, if you want to hear Afghanistan, Jerry Dexter of Listening Post says you should start tuning around 7,600 kilohertz, and you might find it there. Excuse me. It's Radio TV Afghanistan. And if you're lucky, you will find it. In our emergency communications column, we look at some lessons learned from Hurricane Ida. And it was a particularly bad storm here where I live. Unfortunately, today's storm is nowhere near that. Kit building editor Joe Eisenberg, K0NEB, who's usually in the audience here, is starting his 13th year writing the column. And this one is on solving the coax conundrum. You'll have to read it and see what it's about. We have a new columnist for our microcontrollers column, Jack Purdom, W-A-T-E-E, and he starts his new column this month. His title is "I'm Out of Pins," so trying to see what he can do with the how many different functions you can get off the pins that are available in microcontroller. Anthony Luscre, K8ZT, who has been our microcontrollers editor, is starting a new column in the December issue called Ham Radio Explorer, and he's going to be looking at different areas of the hobby that maybe not as popular as some others. Trying to make sure that people know what's out there. This is such a diverse hobby. And, people, I hear people telling me, oh, I'm getting bored. Well, if you're getting bored, then you just haven't found something that's going to satisfy you right now to do, because there's all sorts of stuff out there. In our learning curve column, we have a brief primer on capacitors, and we have rules for fox hunting, and a recap of the 2021 CQ Worldwide Fox Hunting Weekend in homing in. It was a first return to some group activities there in the springtime. Fortunately, it was outside, so it made it a little bit more comfortable for a lot of people. In our VHF Plus column, we're looking at some international VHF activity, including a transatlantic opening on 2 meters in August, basically between the Canary Islands and some Caribbean islands, and then up into Spain and Portugal as well. So anybody wants to tell you that 2 meters is local band only, think again. And speaking of DX, our DX column has the latest on the on again, off again, on again, off again, on again attempt to get a DXpedition to Bouvet. So we're covering the 3Y0J DXpedition, which is planned for 2022. And we've got full details on those plans and how it's all put together. In contesting, our contesting editor, N3QE, takes a deep dive on top band. And in propagation, Thomas Hood, NW7US, talks about the rise of a solar cycle. It certainly is rising. And that's just a little bit of what we got coming up in the November issue. I would tell you more, but my voice isn't going to cooperate, so I will leave it at that. And we still have our subscription special going on with an extra issue for each year that you sign up for. 13, 26, or 39 issues instead of 12, 24, or 36. And just go to our website at www.cq-amateur-radio.com, and you can see all the details and get signed up there.
All right. Well, that was real interesting. And you said not enough or too many pins. That was our issue on our Zoom tonight. I had too many people pinned. So we learned something. Thank you to Bill in the chat room for telling us about that. As soon as I removed the pins, see, we had too many pins. I think your article said he didn't have enough pins.
Right.
So sometimes too many pins can cause problems. But, hey, 2 meter long distance DX islands over to Spain, that's a pretty good trip. But, I remember, hey, as a kid, man, I remember here in near Memphis and on TV, occasionally, this is before I became a ham, but occasionally that skip would come in here on TV, and we would tune in a TV station in Cuba would be coming in like on channel 3 or channel 4. Of course that's 50 megahertz, but that propagation still happens up in the 2 meter band, and that's real interesting.
I've heard during that last really good opening on 2 meters, 6 meters was wide open, and I decided to listen on 2 meters. I could hear Puerto Rico here from Alabama on 2 meter sideband. So,
yeah.
But it's interesting because the muff was going right through 2 meters, and then it would crash out. So it would be open for about 20 seconds. You could hear the noise come up, and then you hear all these stations just like 20 meters. Then it'd be gone, just whoosh, whoosh. So it was kind of interesting to see it, hear it going through the muff go through 2 meters.
I guess take advantage of it as it happens, because it typically doesn't stay around very long,
Yeah.
Yeah.
VHF and UHF propagation is just so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't TV channel 6 back in the old days right on 6 meters?
No, I think channel
channel
two.
Channel 2.
Was
Channel 2.
6 meters, or
And
channel.
there used to be a channel 1 out
Channel
of
1.
New Zealand.
Yeah.
And that was on 49 megahertz, I think. And
Right.
I could see TV from New Zealand and Australia and Santa Barbara, California, when the band was open on meters.
Yep. That was some fun days back then. I kind of add that to my shortwave listening. The listening and viewing of DX on the TV, the old TV. You know, where you had to get up and turn the knob on the TV. You know, that's before remote controls, man. Well, hey, Rich, thanks so much, man, for sharing that with us. Sorry we had some problems in the beginning right before you, but once I got the pins out of you, everything started looking right. So. Feel free
People are sticking pins in me all the time. Yeah,
that's right, man.
No
Yeah, that's right. And speaking of pins, guys, look at this. There we go, right there, man. Now that pin, that's an awful long pin that the guy's got there in his hand. But that was me, and on I don't know, a couple of days ago, maybe Friday. I don't know. I've lost track of time since I got the shot. Since I got the shot, I don't remember much, but I think it was Friday, man. Yeah.
I got my booster yesterday.
Yeah. So, you know, I want you guys, hey, think about it. It's a personal decision whether you get your booster or not. I believe in it. I believe it may not be perfect, but I really think it will help you. It's going to help me, I hope.
Just lost a good friend who's 57. He didn't have the vaccine, and after 7 weeks on the ventilator, he just passed away.
Oh man, that's tough. Yep, that's tough. All right. Well, hey, thanks, Rich, and we'll see you next month. And
great.
Looking forward to it. Hopefully
my voice will be back by then.
Yeah. And if you want to join us in between now and then, please, come on in here and join us. All right. So Katie had trouble tonight. Katie tried 7 or 8 times to get in tonight, and she almost made it the last time, but obviously she's dropped out now. And I think their internet connection is pretty poor, and the snow they're having probably is not helping a whole lot out there right now. So a couple of things going on here that I want to talk about, and we're going to open up the Zoom for everybody out there pretty early tonight. So I'll open up the phone lines. I'll also open up Zoom where you guys can join us in our discussion the last half hour. And that we'll call that the show after the show. The last hour will be just anything ham radio related that you want to talk about. All right, I want to give you an update. On W5KUB 101 and where we stand there, and show you a little thing that happened this afternoon. So I've got a video here I'm going to run. Bill, you probably haven't seen this, but let's see. There I am standing next to, you can see my reflection off the bomb. And you can see it's quite large. And boy, it really held together really well. All the seams I put in it are holding perfectly. We did explode that today in pressure testing. We did not mean to explode it, but we did explode it today. Let me get a video.
Did you get that on camera?
I thought I thought the camera wasn't aimed at it when it exploded, but it wasn't running. It was in between slots. So I've got a little bit before and a little bit after. So I'm going to play something here, just about a 2-minute video, just kind of show you where we were. Our intention was, first of all, at the altitude we want to fly, the pressure is about a column of water. About, when you measure it with a manometer, the pressure would be about 5 inches. And I just wanted, we took this, I wasn't going to try to destroy it. I just wanted to make sure it would go above 5 inches so it would be safe to fly. So what happened is we started inflating it, and when I got up to about 8 inches, we had a little disaster happen. Now guys, when you look at the manometer, you got to double the number. If you see a 2 on the tape measure, that's really 4. If you see a 3, that's a 6 inches of water column. So I'm going to run this video here real quick, and let's see if you can kind of see what we did today. Let's see. I think this is going to be it right here. All right, cut it off right there. Oh, gee. So
that?
It's just a thing stretched. So Ed, we're at 3 inches of water. That's 6 inches.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is crackling like it's on fire. Listen to it.
Mm-hmm. That is stretching.
You can actually hear it crackling.
Yeah, you're free. You're leaking here.
Are we?
Yeah.
That's good to know.
The heartbeat. You hear it?
Yeah, that's good to know.
You know what's happening? It's
pulling out.
It's pulling out of here. I'm getting away from that thing. You better open that garage door. Go shoot through the garage door.
Oh well, okay. Let's.
I think we need to let the air out.
We're gonna step back a minute and do some adjustments here. Okay, so we had quite a good explosion on this one. You can see the end here is still on our equipment. That is not a seam. Somehow it blew straight across. That is not a seam that we made. We're going to go ahead and hook this piece back up to the pressure test. We're going to see what this explodes at. The other material we tested went up to 19 inches a column of water. This one was about 8 when it exploded, so I'm not sure what's going on here. All right, so we had a mishap at 8 inches of column of water. That would have flown at altitude, but we took it one little smidget higher than, if we'd stopped at 7, it'd probably been all right. But at 8 inches, it exploded. Now, we don't know why. I tested that same material previously, and we ran it up to, it exploded at 19 inches of water column. This time it exploded at 8. And my friend thought we should open the garage door, because if you saw where we had it fastened to our inflation tube, it's really high pressure there. I mean, I had a rubber wrapped around that. We had 2 stainless steel hose clamps around that thing, tightened down as tight as we could, and it was still pulling out. It was still pulling out the mylar out from the clamp. So that's one of the areas that we'll be working on too. So we lost about 1 foot of the balloon. So what we're going to do is I'm going to seal that bottom up, and we're going to fly it. Now, it's going to fly a little lower. The spreadsheet showed that was going to fly at about 55,000, but losing that bottom 1 foot and all that capacity is probably going to put us down to about 50,000 maybe. If we can hit 50,000, that'd be good. The nice thing about it is that it's not leaking out. It's holding the pressure. I keep going out there and looking at the manometer, and the manometer has not moved. The level is still right where it was. So we're doing pretty good. You saw us doing a gas test leak there. So what we were using there, we actually shot some Freon in there. We shot a little bit of Freon in, and then we had a Freon detector to tell us where the leaks were. And the only leak that we were experiencing was right there where those two stainless steel hose clamps were. And we finally got that tightened, I believe. None of the seams were leaking. And the way we did the seams, if you remember, let's see, I've got a picture, I think, of this laying out. That's where we laid it. There's two halves right there laying in the kitchen. And what we did, we brought those two halves together and overlapped them. We overlapped them. We ran a piece of 2-inch tape all the way down the seam. And then we turned it over. And then that made a little flap on the back. When you overlap that and we taped that seam, and then when we turned it over, we had a little flap like this. So we opened that flap up, and we put 3M adhesive all the way down that. Once it got tacky, we folded that flap down, and man, when it sticks, it sticks. So we try to get it smooth and right. But once it sticks, it's as strong as the material itself. So we glued the flap down, and then we ran another, just to be safe, we ran another 2-inch tape all the way down the inside. So we were taped on the inside and the outside and glued maybe 1.5 inches wide all the way down. So our seams are doing perfect. Our seams aren't leaking. They're not pulling apart. They're looking really good. And you saw, here's one shot. We build up pretty high pressure on the end there, where we're putting in the air. That's what the other end looks like. It's not bunched up into the center. I think that is actually distributing the pressure better. You can look at that end, and it does not look nearly like this end. And this is not fully inflated either. And this is where it exploded. From the filler tube, if you go up about 6 inches and draw a circle around, that's where it popped right there. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna seal this end, open end, and we're gonna put our feeder in the very bottom corner. It appears that we have lower pressure in the corners, and we're going to try to go into the corner with the gas, and then we'll seal there too. That's kind of what it looked like before it was totally inflated. You can see we had to use tie-down straps. Those are some pretty soft straps. I think we have 3 straps that went under the tables. There's 12 foot of table there. So we actually had to hold it down because it kept, even with air, it just kept wanting to lift up, and there's too many dangerous things in my shop to poke it. So we wanted to make sure that we didn't puncture it. You can see the material is nice and tight right there, nice and shiny and tight. If you look between the two black tie downs there, you'll see one of our seams right there. And it's just really smooth, and I think we've got the seams down okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to let's see what we got. I just put together the solar panels for it. We're going a little bit heavier in weight. We could reduce this by about maybe 3 grams, but this is only 7 grams total, 7.5 grams total. And we've got 2 redundant sets of panels at 45 degrees. And we found that when we started running, and it's winter time, so in winter time the sun does not get up very high. And we found when we were running the horizontal panels, we were really disappointed. We might only get 3 hours, 3.5 hours of tracking a day. And Bill can talk more about this in a minute, but I believe that for those solar panels to work, our solar panels that we used to work, the sun had to be at maybe 22 degrees or higher. So we didn't go horizontal. We went with a double-sided redundant things. So if you look at this, and this is what worked out real neat for us. We put the panels at a 45, and the last few flights that we flew with panels at 45, we were actually picking up the sun and starting to operate somewhere around 2 degrees below sunrise, and it operated to almost 2 degrees below sunset. So it went almost from sunset to sunrise, or sunrise to sunset. And you can see the sun right there. Again, in the summertime, in the wintertime, the sun probably doesn't get over, 40, 50 degrees in elevation there. And if you look at about 50 degrees, 45 or 50 degrees, that's straight into that panel. So they worked very, very well for us. Go ahead, Bill.
In Great Britain, during the winter, it's only up about 13 degrees maximum sun angle in the dead of winter in Great Britain. And Iceland's even worse. It's 5 or 6 degrees. So if we get up north, unfortunately, it takes twice as many solar panels, one for each side.
Yeah.
But they're fairly lightweight.
Yep.
Now, in the previous, just the flat panels, typically it's 13 to 15% of solar angle is necessary. But during the dead of winter, that would limit your maximum latitude, where it would work to about 51 degrees or over Great Britain. I just had one show up over Fairbanks, Alaska today, and it's getting into that season where the sun's pretty low in Fairbanks. And it got a couple of reports right at high noon at 62 degree latitude.
Yeah,
so,
and that's
what we're going to get worse.
Yeah, and that's what makes you not feel too good. You say, hey, you're flying and you only get 30 minutes of tracking a day, and because that the sun is so low. So
well, if you're way high in latitude, you're only getting a little bit.
Well, we found that the 2 panels, if I only had 1 panel at 45, you don't know which way it's going to aim. It could be aiming away from the sun, So we had to put redundant panels in. So we got 2 different panels in there. And I played with them out in the sun. I've turned them different ways, and they pretty much have good output no matter which way they're turned. And the nice thing about it, if one of the little panels break, you got the other side that'll keep powering it because they're paralleled. What are you going to say, Bill?
VE3KCL put some light sensors on one of his payloads to measure the rotation. And he had a pretty fancy algorithm that would sample the rotation on each of the compass points on some light sensors. And he was able to determine that just hanging from a balloon at float altitude, it was still rotating maybe once every minute or once every 2 minutes. It was still rotating. And sometimes it would rotate clockwise and sometimes counterclockwise. But it never really stood completely still in one spot, which is how, if that's the case, then your system will work because it never will be pointed against the sun for very long off the far end.
With the supercapacitors we run too, that really gives it that extra capacity. Even if the solar panels went in the dark for a few seconds, you still have power. And
they give you at least 30 seconds with the supercapacitors, not 25 seconds.
I found that to mount all these cells, I found in my case that styrofoam is the lightest man-made object that I can find. Now, I know you mount your 2 cells with a little brass tube that's very light.
Right. I found a company called Albion Metals. And so this is how I do mine.
Let's see. Let me get you on here.
I just made one on the show here. But but I'm using the flexible panels, and I have 2 wires soldered to the positive end, and the brass tubing is ultra thin. I have to specially order this from Great Britain because the stuff you buy at the hobby store here in town weighs 3 grams, and this weighs 0.8 grams, and it's still pretty sturdy. And then I use Kapton tape on the back to keep them from flipping up. But this whole assembly is pretty lightweight. But this also serves as the ground return. This is a support, but it's also the ground for the cells. I crimp them on the end. I fold them over and crimp them and solder them on the end, so it keeps it from bending. It really supports it from flipping around by doing that. So I just take about a 1/2 inch, fold it over, and solder that down onto the end of the cell, and that's the ground point. Plus, it also keeps it from flipping around. And this is the backup recovery system.
Yeah, and see, I don't put the backup recovery system on mine because all mine are going to land either on a Russian Air Force base or an Iranian Army base. That's where mine will land.
or Kim Il-jung.
Yeah.
Or at the airport in Corinth.
Yeah, so I don't, hey, when I launch, I don't expect to get it back. I mean, it'd be cool if somebody could email me and say, hey, I found this gizmo, what is it? But
so somebody somewhere in Western Tennessee has found a gizmo with a large silver balloon, and they don't know where it came from. Now, you'll have to look at the UFO reports northeast of you there where Dash 100 landed.
Well, that's where, in fact, that was stated in our Facebook group that people suggested that I contact the local police department and asked if there were any UFO reports that day. Now, this thing did look like a UFO, I can tell you, when it left here.
Somebody may have turned it into a police department, so you might want to contact the nearest town there.
You think so? Well, but you don't know if this really happened, though, right? I mean, you're just saying that, right?
No, I mean, I have seen that happen before.
Yeah.
Where people report it. I always put up my email address on it.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, in the future, if you're worried about it landing in North Korea and all those nasty places, but still giving you a backup, just put Glenn's call sign.
I was going to say I'll put yours or Glenn's on there. That'll work. That'll work really good. Let's see.
So if the telephone contact you, then you know what happened.
Yeah, and if it comes back to me, I get to keep it. It's got an Arduino.
Yeah, well, it does.
I got a GPS, an Arduino. Hey, I got more parts.
It does. I was going to pull up the, see if I can pull this up here.
Yeah. By the way, there's a question in the chat room. Does the cold of altitude make the Mylar more fragile?
Well, I don't know. I did test our splicing and our tapes and our adhesive down to about 0. I haven't taken it down really low, but it seemed
the tape would be the biggest factor. The Mylar itself is going to be good down to below what the temperature would be even in cold night. And there is a point around 90 below 0 where it could become more fragile. But see, the flight tests you've done have been during the day when the sun's heating it up pretty good. So believe it or not, a silver reflected object does not reflect all of the solar radiation. It actually absorbs quite a bit of it.
Bill, I was surprised. I can actually see through this.
Well, that may not be a good thing. That shows you that the layers are too thin. I
know. I mean, in the kitchen with the lights on in there, bright lights on, I could actually just really see through this now. Of course, we're using what we can, and my.
You got a nice good flight out of the last one, but it had a catastrophic failure on the way down. came down pretty quickly, I think. Well, it wasn't too bad, but we were coming down maybe 500 feet per minute. But so it had a hole in it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think you dropped below the clouds, so you lost the solar panel, and so we lost signal before it got on the ground. But we have a fairly good idea where it is within about a 3 or 5 mile area. But seriously, I would consider talking to somebody in the area there to see if somebody turned one in.
Well, you know, I'm trying to pull some up here. Here we go. Looks like Facebook didn't want to cooperate with me tonight.
But I've actually gotten, just by putting my email address on the solar panel,
yeah,
I've gotten probably 5 to 10% of the ones that are sent up are eventually found, particularly over the United States. In fact, one I got back, and it was just, it was kind of interesting. See if I can find it here. Oh, yeah, here it is. So I got one back that said, we found your email address on a solar panel.
Yep.
And this is what they sent me.
What's that? What did it say? Oh, the solar panel? Yeah.
You see that little brass tubing in that wire?
Yeah.
Apparently, somebody had probably landed in some high grass or in a bush, and somebody had either trimmed the bushes or mowed the yard, and this is the only thing left of the entire tracker.
It may be.
Solar panel with a broken tube and broken wire. It looks like it's been chewed up pretty good. So this went through a lawnmower, no doubt. But it was the cell that survived that had my email address on it. So I didn't get the tracker back, but I got one part of it back.
Right. Well,
that came from California.
So here's our map of our that last flight, and it went down, and I moved the recovery zone area down a little bit. You sent us a prediction. I think you can see my mouse here. You sent a prediction, and you thought, and I had it marked here.
Just east of the airport, but
somewhere,
it could be
somewhere. I think right in here somewhere. Let's see. Oh, you right here on this point. That point, you had it right here. Now, see, I've moved that circle down since then because I had the circle above Highway 412 up here, like right here. And you would have been right on the edge of the circle, but I revised that. It was going down 577 feet per minute. Even the last 10 minutes, it was still coming down at 577.
Yeah, it was coming down at a pretty good clip.
At 577, so 577 into last known altitude of 9,100 feet. It should have taken 15 more minutes to hit the ground. And
I ran that through the UK high altitude prediction program based on that last report.
Well,
so that's what it showed.
So the way I figured it at 577 feet a minute, at 9,000 feet, we had 15 minutes left before it hit the ground. I'm guessing the surface wind, maybe 8 miles per hour. If that's the case, it would have traveled 2 more miles from the last point. The last point was right here, so 2 more miles would have made it land right there on the center line of Highway 412. So I moved the circle down a little bit. I think we could be lower. But
I will say that basically your this particular version of your software, I incorporated a 10-digit grid square in the JT9 transmission.
Yep.
In the right after it sent the 2 whisper transmissions, it would send a 1-minute JT9 field, which is about 12 characters wide. So it was your call sign and then EM55 DB. It sent 6 characters grid square. The second transmission sent the last portions of a 10-digit grid square, and that if it was still transmitting on the ground, and you could remotely tune some internet radio and hear it, you could also listen for the JT9, and it would have told you exactly where it is within 50 feet. So that's the innovation in the latest software, is the 10-digit grid square.
So I'm guessing.
By the way, no one does a 10-digit grid square. It's hard to do. I had to make my own rules up for the last part there.
Well, and another thing, I think the ants. If you look right here, there's an airport right there. And I think the ants were actually trying to make the airport. I honestly think they came down a little short. You had them.
Well, I had one.
You what?
I had one that I launched at an AMSAT conference from Huntsville, Alabama.
Yeah.
And about 4 months later, I got a call from an airport manager in Chattanooga. He said, "We found something of yours underneath a Cessna."
Yeah.
Apparently, it had been hanging from a tree near the flight line, near where the tie-down area was for the small aircraft. And the storm came through and finally blew it out of the tree after 3 or 4 months, and it blew right underneath the Cessna. And I got it back. It was in perfect shape. All I had to do was launch it again, and that one went clear to Europe.
Yeah. Well, we got that airport right there we were trying to make, and some of our search team has talked with the airport management, and all the crop dusters and people that fly in and out of there supposedly have been notified to look on the ground in that circle right there as they're coming in and landing and crossing the runway. So, maybe to be seen. I kind of think, Bill, and it was the same configuration of this. It was the same dual solar panel. I kind of have a feeling that it's down in the trees somewhere, and this is hanging pretty low down in the dark because we haven't heard anything from it. I mean, even if it landed on the ground, you might still
be upside down.
If it landed on the ground, you might still get some sun depending on where it was turned. But
it's probably in the trees. But the cool thing is, I'm still looking for it because as the leaves fall off, then it might see some sunlight again.
This thing could start transmitting here in another month or so, or the wind may just blow this thing just off of a little branch where it's getting some sun, and we'll see. It's going to be really interesting. So,
or it could do the same thing that happened at the airport with Bill and blow itself into the clear at some point.
Yeah. Well, that airport up there has 450 acres. That's I think I honestly think we're inside the airport.
It's pretty heavily wooded around that airport.
Yeah, I think we're in the airport. So we'll see what happens there. All right. Hey, we'll be opening up the Zoom lines and phone lines here in just a minute. Before we switch here, we put this other one together. The one we blew the bottom off. We're going to try to fly it, and so we're putting together another tracker, another solar panels, and we're real good at launching these things and losing them in about 30 minutes, So
we've lost. Do you have any idea of what caused this last one to come down?
It sprung a leak. But we don't know where. It'd be nice to see if we can recover it. We can tell if one of the tape joints, came open, or now when we pressure tested the emergency sleeping bag at 19 column inches of water, it exploded a little 2-inch rip near the tape. It did not rip on the splice. It ripped to the side of the tape. The tape makes it really strong. Let me show you what we're going to do next. We're going to get this one in the air, hopefully within the next 1 week. We'll get it in the air. We'll see if we can keep it up there. Here's my next project. This is a 2-person thermal sleeping bag. 2-person. It
You
weighs
gonna send 2 people up,
yeah, we're going to send 2 people up. We need volunteers. So
or twice the number of ants?
that's our one big person. Yeah. So
Yeah, I was just gonna say
this
one big person.
weighs in. This is a Mylar again. This weighs in at only 135 grams, and this is 2 person. So this bag is already taped up, and the other bag was taped fairly good, and it held pressure, but we would retape it. But let's compare this to an SBS. An SBS is the circumference of an SBS is 72 inches circumference. This circumference right here is 100 and it's 64 times 2. It's 128 inches. So an SBS has a balloon circumference of 72. This has a circumference of 128. An SBS is 90 inches tall, and this is 87 inches tall. Really, really close. And that extra circumference makes that thing give you about 4 to 5 times the gas capacity of an SBS, because you're just so much bigger in diameter.
Now, one thing you can do, Tom, to check the leakage of those is to make a small balloon about the size of one of those 36-inch Mylars. Maybe make it a 40-inch one, and fill it up with helium or hydrogen, and then
strike a match. Hold a match near it.
Yeah. And then measure the lift each day to see if it's leaking through the material or your seam.
Yeah. Well, you saw the video?
Small scale test, I think it would be worthy on that material, because my concern is it might be not enough layers.
Yeah. And it could be. It could be. We're working with what we have, and so far we haven't found a perfect thing yet. You saw us test for leaks with the leak detector in the video, I think, if you were watching when I ran that video. Did you see that, Bill?
Yeah.
Where we actually had a detector. We couldn't find any leaks with the detector anywhere on the seams or anywhere around it, except where we had 2 steel hose clamps tightened down. That's where we were getting our leak. And so that's what we're going to be working on right there.
Hey, Tom, is there a way to bring up the chat room all by itself?
Yeah.
Without having to go?
Yeah, you can. Are you on w5kub.com?
I'm just logging onto it now.
But if you look on my page, w5kb.com, and look below the chat room, you'll see a link that says Open Chat Room. Or I tell you what you can do. You can grab the tab with your mouse, grab the tab up there, and pull it down, and that'll make its own window. And then
Wait a minute, on the live video? Okay.
Well, wait. You've got the chat open, right? You got the chat open, right? Or not?
No, they won't.
Okay. I've got a link down here that it will open it as in its own window. Or if you already have it opened up in a tab, you can actually
where is the link?
Look below where it says sign in.
I see live video and chat.
Try this. Rather than that, just go to web.libera.chat/#W5KUB.
Yeah, I mean, that'll work too. That'll open.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay, which route you going?
What was that again?
Web.libera, LIBERA.chat.
Oh, okay. All right.
/#W5KUB.
Now it's going to open it in a tab.
You can tell I'm old school. It's pound
I was
instead
going
of
to
hashtag.
just say that. A hashtag.
Yeah. Well, it's
It's
pound
a
sign.
pound sign to me.
It's a pound sign for me. Hey, I saw a commercial today where they tell you dial his phone number, and they said pound whatever. So the guy must be an old guy that wrote the thing. All right.
It's a pound sign for me too.
Have you got it up there yet, Bill? Have you got the chat room up?
Yes, I
Okay.
do.
Did it
Now,
open it? It's in another tab, right? It's in another tab.
right.
So look, grab that tab at the top with your mouse and pull it down, and it'll make that a separate window. Did it make it a separate window?
Yeah, I guess so.
You grabbed the tab and pulled it down.
Or you can right click and tell it to move to another window.
Just click on the
okay.
click on the tab and slide it down, and then you can resize it. And if you've got 2 monitors, you can move it and put it on a second monitor.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good. Now I can put it, I only have 1 monitor, so now I can put everything.
You can size it like a half a screen, and you can size the video half a screen. You can pop the video out half a screen. Hey, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back with everybody. Don't go away. Home. ICOM has the perfect base station ready for action. The IC9700, the 7610, and the 7300 SDR transceivers are top of the line and are the first choice for contesters across the globe. Robust base stations like these cut through the pileups, letting you work the bands and record those contacts. Stay connected remotely with the RSBA1 app to keep your competitive contesting edge with ICOM. Heard it, worked it, and logged it. The IC7851 gives you a new window into the RF world and is HF excellence unparalleled. With faster processors, high input gain, high display resolution, and a cleaner signal, it's truly the pinnacle of HF perfection. The SDR that every ham wants is the IC7610. This high-performance SDR can pick out the faintest of signals even in the presence of stronger adjacent signals. The 7610 is a direct sampling software-defined radio, and it will change the world's definition of an SDR transceiver. Create your own band openings with the IC9700. This transceiver brings direct sampling to the UHF-VHF weak signal world. This all-mode transceiver is loaded with innovative features that are sure to keep you busy. It has faster processors, higher input gain, higher display resolution, and a cleaner signal. The IC7300 changed the way entry-level HF is designed. This high-performance innovative HF transceiver with a compact design will far exceed your expectations. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM radios.
LDG Electronics provides state-of-the-art antenna tuners for every amateur need. From QRP to QRO, fixed stations, portable and remote, an LDG tuner will match your radio to your antenna using our lightning-fast, proprietary tuning algorithms. LDG is a family-owned and operated company dedicated to bringing innovative, quality products to the amateur market. All LDG products carry a full 2-year warranty that is fully transferable. Support is only a phone call or email away. We're always here to help you. Visit us on the web at ldgelectronics.com.
All right, so we're back, and again, this program is amateur radio. It's about ham radio and all the different facets of ham radio and what we do. And tonight we've discussed one little part where we're trying to fly balloons around the world, and some people are really successful and some haven't made it yet. We're kind of down toward the bottom end. We've made it around a few times and stayed up 70-something days on our best flight. And but what we've been doing lately is experimenting to try to build our own balloon and get an envelope that will take us up higher than what else is readily available out there at a reasonable cost. Anyway, let's go. Let's jump over with Glenn real quick before we open the Zoom. Glenn, I think you had something you wanted to show us.
Yeah, I just got this in the other day. Just a couple of bucks on eBay. You know, I got that Simpson 260 a while back.
Yeah.
And I do a lot of stuff where, I'm one person here, and the probes keep slipping and falling off when you use the pointed probes.
Right.
Well, this has the meter leads, but the banana plugs can be different sizes, so it will work with just about any meter.
Yeah.
And then the probe bodies themselves had a threaded tip that you can screw the leads into, and then you can either use an alligator clip, the spade lugs, or the pointed tips at the other end of the probe, so you can mix and match your scope or your meter probes as you need them. Using this little set, costs just about $8 off eBay, I think.
Yeah, that's cool, and I think I've got a couple leads around at the end, screw on like the alligator clip screws on the end or something.
Yeah, I like the idea of the threaded ends and the banana clips and things of that nature. It's real handy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna post the link in the chat room here, and I think this is the link. Let's see. I think that's it. Bam. Okay. If everybody will, click on that link, that'll bring you right into our Zoom meeting, and we'd love to have you join us. And let's see how many people we can get in Zoom tonight. We're about 9:13. We got about 45 more minutes of the show. Let's see how long it'll take our first person to get in here. Now, I don't know. Bill seemed to always have a little problem clicking in. He kept talking about he needed a password, but you don't. If you click that link, it should bring you right in. So let's see if here we go. Here we go. We got Carlos. We got Charlie. He's coming in down in Uruguay. So he's our first person tonight. Hello, Carlos.
Wow, he got in faster than Katie.
Let me say, ¿Cómo está usted?
Here. Hello.
Hello.
How are you all?
Hola. Hola. Let's speak
Hola.
language tonight. See. ¿Cómo está usted la noche?
Muy bien, gracias.
Okay. All right. That's with a southern accent and probably not grammar correct. But anyway, I tried.
Yeah, if you had to order dinner in a Spanish country, you'd probably starve.
Oh, I can order a dinner.
Point at the menu, maybe.
Me como hamburguesa sin queso y papa fritas y Coca-Cola grande
McDonald's, Burger King, and all that. It's the same in everywhere.
Yeah.
So.
Did I get that right, Carlos? Did I get that right?
Yeah, maybe.
All right, we got Bill there. I bet you he got in without a password tonight. Let's see. Let me click on him. Let's see if he did it tonight. All right, I'm hoping. Come on in, Bill. I think you can do it, Bill.
He got this far. He's going to make it in.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get my picture on
Assuming he can see the window that you have to click to finish up getting into the
Let's see. No, that's
chat.
Not me. Let's see. There I am. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work.
There he is.
There.
There's Bill. Is that Bill? Bill's there?
That's Bill.
Now, Bill, you didn't use a password tonight, did you?
You're muted, Bill.
Oh, man, he needs a microphone now.
We can't.
I updated my Zoom this morning. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I have a test session tomorrow night.
Okay.
And I just go and get your
the number,
your meeting number, and I put it in, and then I go and I get the password and put the password in, and I come in. Okay.
Okay.
Normally there is a 6-digit number for a password. Okay.
Not if you use
Not
the
if
link.
you use the link.
Oh, I know,
Yeah.
Glenn. I mean,
Yeah.
look at that. She's playing frisky tonight, I see, huh?
Yeah.
Told you she'd be back.
Oh, Lord.
Well, welcome, man. Hey, are you getting any bad weather up there? Any of this rain hitting you yet? Or is it not to you?
I'll tell you what, Tom. 2.5 hours north of me, they got almost 4 inches of snow.
Oh, wow.
And we have the same, I guess you'd say, weather that Allen has. It's called a northeaster.
Yeah.
And it blew my trash barrel across the street. It's been raining like, I don't know what. I'm going to have to get down and check my cellar here in a little bit and see if I have to put the pump on and send it down the driveway.
Bill, I am impressed to hear a New Englander say northeaster.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking nor'easter.
Well, I've been out of New England for quite a while, Bill. So, I mean, I may have lost the twang.
I'm not sure I'm even allowed in New England.
You might actually say New Hampshire instead of New Hampshire.
Well, I try to enunciate my words here very clearly.
All right, I'm going to put that link in here again. Okay, come on. We need some more people to join us. Let's get some new people in here tonight that may have not joined before, but there's the link. Click on that link and join us on Amateur Radio Roundtable, and would love to hear your experiences about ham radio and what you're doing down there or up there.
Well, Mike just checked in, so he'll probably join us.
Tom, I wanted to mention that the Jamboree on the Air event that happened a couple weeks ago, they sent up a balloon, and it's 1 day away from completing its first lap.
That's good.
W9 Whiskey Italy -12, I believe.
Yeah.
I was trying to look it up here, but it's over in Nebraska right now. So
well, that's cool. That's exciting.
I'll be coming over to your house.
Yeah, that's exciting, and this is a good time to fly in the winter time, and they're probably going to make it maybe a couple of times. What kind of balloon was it? An SBS balloon or?
It was an SBS and one of my APRS sky trackers.
Yeah. Well, on the path that it's taken, has it been out of range quite a bit across Asia or anything? Or
surprisingly, not too bad. It had good coverage across Europe.
Okay, so it went across Europe. It went across Europe, and I guess there's APRS stations there.
Oh yeah, and then it went across Turkey, and it looked like there was some GPS jamming going on because I've noticed in that region of the world, the GPS gets jammed.
Yep.
And then the next thing, 2 days later, it showed up over China and Japan. Yeah. And it didn't take long to go across the Pacific. It was in the Pacific Northwest about 3 days after it was in Japan. So this is the time of year you really start going around the world quick.
Okay, so Bill, I need you to help me here on your firmware that we're going to fly. I need a pin. Let's see. There's Dwayne. I need a pin that.
You better talk to Rich. You got an article. On
I need a pin that will go high when we get. Let's say when we get over North Korea. Anytime we go over North Korea, I want that pin to go high. Okay. And Bob I've got a little blasting cap that Bob sent me for a balloon, and I can send a little voltage at blasting cap, and it will cut a fishing line, and I can drop something, and I thought I'd
You're going to drop Glenn's QSL card?
I'm going to drop his QSL card over North Korea. Yeah.
I was going to say leaflets, but
yeah.
Hey, all I got to do is get one response, and I got it in the log.
There you go.
Yeah. I see a comment here. Mark says Mike Hodjanowski posted. Is Mike in our room? Is he in our chat room tonight?
Yeah, Mike is there. KE8IL.
No. Oh, that's no. KE8IL. KE8I. Is that?
KE8IL, the guy that lives in Uber.
No, that's not him.
Okay.
This is Mike, and I can't. Hodjanowski. He's a big balloon guy. Is Mike? Are you in the chat room tonight somewhere?
Mark just posted that for Mike. But basically, they launched one for high school. In Pittsfield and at Pittsford, near New York State, and that's an SBS 13, and he's got his own whisper tracker, and that he designed, and it's been around the world 8 times. So they launched it in May.
That's pretty good.
882 FOU-11, I believe.
Yeah. Well, we're taking a big
way up there. It's near. It's just east of the Hudson Bay.
Yeah. Well, I've got an SBS here in the closet that we could fly, and it would probably stay up there. But we're taking a big chance to experiment and try to get one of our own to stay in the air, and that's kind of where we're focusing right now.
As long as you got microcontroller chips, when you run out, you'll have to talk to Glenn. He'll probably charge you 10 times the normal price.
I don't think I've got chips though.
Well, you talking about the 328Ps or?
Yeah, you can't buy them anywhere.
I've got about 5 328Ps, but they're the large.
I may have as many as 10 I bought from Allie a while back. Now I don't know if
they're worth their weight in gold right now.
Are they?
I don't have any surface mount stuff.
Gee. Well, I've got a few. I don't know if they're just empty inside or if they're real. I think I've used one before and it worked. Hey, Bill, I sent you an email about the U-Block 7C GPS. My reading says it's the same software and the same footprint as the 8Q or the Max or whatever.
It is. It is. The only difference is that
it's a lower voltage, isn't it?
No, the Q. The C will work at lower voltage.
Yeah.
Because the Q versions have a TCXO reference to the GPS.
Okay.
The C can tend at cold temperatures not to track as well.
So my question is with our firmware, can I just drop it right in? Will it work okay?
Yes, but and I think I've got it in there. You have to turn off you have to make it just the GPS constellation only, because the 8 also includes all the other constellations, and it draws about 5 or 6 milliamps more current.
Okay,
but it works with the China Baidu system and all the Russian system. But there's a command you can send it to just do the US GPS.
And what if I don't make any firmware change at all? Will it work?
You're saying using the 8Q? Yes, it will work.
I'm talking about the 7C.
Oh, the 7C?
Because we've been flying. I think we've been flying the 8Qs, the M8Qs.
Actually, you've been flying the 7Cs for a lot of your flights.
Really?
And then we had to go to the 8Q because you can't buy the 7Cs anymore or the 7Qs. They're hard to find.
I may need to check my stock. I may have a couple 7Cs.
Yeah,
okay.
The 7C works very well. Actually, the Q draws a little less current once you set it up. You send that one command to it. I'll look in the code and see if I sent that command.
Let me go have a peek.
I just bought 100 8Qs on a surplus house purchase because they have dried up as well. You cannot buy GPS modules on the standard channels. The parts distribution is really messed up.
All right.
And they won't tell you. They usually tell you a date when something's going to come in, like a month or two from now. There'll be a bunch coming in. This time, there's no date. And I called somebody, and they says, well, we don't know. It could be 6 months, could be a year before we get microcontrollers or GPS modules in.
Okay, so hey, Bill, I've been flying the M8Cs.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Now, and so I've got, and I think I got another one to build up, but I've got some 7s. And
the 7 will work great.
Okay. But I have to make a change or not?
No change.
Okay. All right, good. Now, another thing, the resonator we've got in here, the resonator is a 4 meg resonator.
Right.
I've got some 8 meg resonators. Is that an issue to just change that in the code, or?
Yes.
I mean, is that a major problem, or just change the code from 4 to 8?
You would have to change quite a few things in your compiler. Your IDE has some special commands that he had you go through, that Eduard had you go through to change it to 4.
Well, I'm not planning on doing that right now. I bought those. I was planning on building up a BSS board, but
right. Well, the standard usually it's designed for 8 megahertz.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's designed for 8 megahertz.
Yeah.
But Eduard had to do a few special things in the configuration files of the Arduino IDE to make it work with the 4 megahertz clock.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Who else we got joined us here? We have.
I've got 8 N's.
You got a what?
An 8N as in Nancy.
An 8 Nancy. That is. I don't know. I don't know what that is. It's probably the same. Hard to see. I think that's the same footprint. Now, whether or not, I mean, well, maybe not. No, is that on a board?
Yeah.
It's on a board. We got just the GPS
itself. Is that the Neo?
The Neo 8N.
Right. That's not going to work on your board.
I mean, I got a.
All right, so I have a question. What are these chips that you're asking for? A 7C, an 8C?
That's a GPS module. It's a U-block GPS module.
Yeah, I picked up.
What is a 32C?
A 32C? I don't know about that one.
Well, didn't you say there was a 32C?
No.
No, that was an AML 328P.
328P.
The microcontroller. And microcontrollers are, you just can't get them.
Well, I'm going to call the do-it-yourself electronics up here and see if they carry it.
Well,
the full part number is AT Mega 328P.
Yeah, here's the Bill. Here's the GPS. Let's see. It's in a bubble wrap, but you can see it there. Little square.
I put it in the chat room.
Yeah. Well,
I have 100 of the M8Qs I just got in.
I have 2 of the 328Ps in a dip configuration. But they're the full-size monsters.
Right.
Yeah.
I have a couple of those too. These are the 44-pin quad flat QF.
Yeah. I've got it in my notes to order a 7C. For some reason, I was going to play with the 7C.
Yeah. Good luck.
All right.
Says no stock.
Well, I have enough on the desk to keep me going for a little while.
Yep. I'll tell you guys, Christmas is coming up.
No kidding.
Christmas is coming up, and Kathy's asking me what I want for Christmas. I keep telling her I want a new radio. I want a new radio, but I can't find any radio I want. I can't find nothing I want.
Didn't you say in Huntsville that you wanted an IC 7700?
No, that wasn't me, huh? That was not me. What is a 7700? That just an HF rig? Oh, Kathy's listening. Anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tom, anything that starts with FTDX would probably work.
Yeah, it is.
So, hey, some time ago you were wanting some sort of power amplifier.
I was going to order that. What is that? Miracle
$3,000 one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to order that one, and I didn't like the customer service. I contacted them. I asked them, when I could place the order or something, and I got back this note. I didn't like the note, but basically, the second time around, he told me, send me $1,200, and then of course it'll be $1,200 when we finish it, and you're looking at 6 to 7 months delivery time. So
that's probably because they have a parts distribution.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably is. I mean,
all of the parts are sitting offshore in a container ship.
But you know, I've got 2 amplifiers over here. I got a 3-500 amp over here, and I've got a full legal limit alpha amp sitting here that'll run full legal limit with a key down for 45 days. And I don't need anything.
I think that should do it. Is that the one with the brick on the key?
Yeah, that's the one with a brick on the key. And I don't need. I don't. Wasn't
it the old Henry amps that had that?
It may have been. It may have been. This alpha actually. Yeah, this alpha actually is continuous from 3.5 or about 2 to about 30 megs. In between the bands, you got 80, and then you got A, then you got 40, and you got B. So it's continuous range all the way on that band switch down to. Let's see, we got Tim joining us. Okay. So I don't need another amp. So I don't know. I thought, hey, maybe I ought to try a flex out, but I don't know. I don't need it. I don't really have room on my workbench. I mean, my desk to put it. We got Tim in here. Tim, WB88RO. And thank you, Tim, for joining us.
Gigaparts has a really nice package. They call it the FTDX 101MP Max package.
Yeah.
And
I have an FTDX 560 you can have for Christmas.
No. That MP will be on my desk for Christmas.
Yeah. All right. Well.
We'll wait.
Well, all I need is for you guys to buy a lot more of this.
Yeah. Well, maybe you can get $1 more if you autograph them.
Send them to me. I'll sign them and send them back. I'll even pay postage.
Yeah.
You're on.
All right.
I won't have to chase you around Dayton to get it.
Actually, looks like I'm also going to be going to St. Louis January 21st. The Friday one-day ham fest in St. Louis area. And looks like I'm going to be doing an Arduino forum up there. So my travel plans are coming together.
Well, good. Hey,
ham fests are starting back.
I was reading. Mark here in the chat room says, "Does anyone want to offer up some bucks for some 4.6 2000 A tubes?"
They're 20,000.
20 is that 20,000? Yeah. The tubes in this alpha are 3.6/800s.
So it's getting easier to get new old stock ceramic tubes for the old amplifiers than cheap semiconductor.
Yeah, it's getting if you got the money.
Easier.
For instance, these 2 tubes in this alpha amplifier, if I wanted to replace those 2 tubes right now, they're running about $500 a piece. So 2 tubes would be $1,000. But you know what? These tubes are putting out full out. I don't know if they've ever been changed in there. I got this used. But they're putting out full power. All the reading I've read about this amplifier, people have run them for, 15 years, 20 years, and have never changed the tubes in them. And it's very well protected for SWR and over grid current and all those kind of things. So it's a pretty good amp. So I guess I don't need another amp. So I don't know. People send me a suggestion on what to get for Christmas. And I'll pass that along to Kathy. Kathy's actually in the chat room. So send me an idea about what Kathy could get me for Christmas for ham radio.
Well, Kathy's listening, so you better watch out.
That's right. She's in here. Just shoot her a note right there in the chat room. And well,
at the rate you're growing, probably a couple large bottles of hydrogen.
Yeah, well.
Probably
that's just that's just normal day-to-day usage around here, Yeah. Hey,
Sorry, sorry, Tom, I don't even want to ask, but maybe you already talked about it, but I wasn't present. What happened to the Dash 100 balloon?
Well, it went down over in Tennessee. It developed a leak, and it came down. It came down at about 500 feet per minute, and we've got a search party looking for it over there. I mean, we got people looking. It almost landed at an airport. I mean, I'll throw there.
And it may have.
There's the there it is. You can see the airport right there, and I think it's in that circle right there over in Tennessee. The ants were trying. They were trying their best to make it to the airport, but I think they came up short. I think they actually landed there near the highway.
Yeah, I've been out in that area. That's heavily wooded around that airport.
Yeah.
Chance for it to be transmitting,
it's not transmitting. It's not transmitting anymore, so it's probably in the shade.
Or maybe it's transmitting, but the antenna is.
Yeah, it may be on the ground. Yeah, that's true. It could be transmitting. Yep.
Carlos, on this particular one, I had 2 JT9 transmissions after the 2 whisper transmissions, which gives you a 10-digit grid square, which puts you within 50 feet if we were able to copy that. Unfortunately, it's not transmitting, but if it does come on, we'll know exactly where it is if we can copy that JT9 transmissions. And Tim, it looks like somebody's trying to beam into your shack. You've got all kinds of weird reflections there. It looks like somebody's trying to beam in there.
Where's that?
He's just coming in from an alternate dimension.
Oh, that's what it is.
Let's see.
Yes.
Video chassis balloon. I want to check something here. See if we can zoom in here a little bit.
It's a multiverse.
1 hour. Okay. So let me go satellite view here. We're gonna have a guessing game here on where it is. Let me go satellite view. Okay, that's the last known position right there.
And it was still how many feet up? 9,000.
That was at 9,100 feet.
9,100 feet.
9,100. And if you look straight ahead, there's an airport right there. We were heading for the airport. I don't know if we made it to the airport. I'm guessing it's down somewhere around 412, right in here, this area right here.
What about the wind on the lower end?
Well, I failed to find out what the wind was. I checked it a few days later, and it was like 8 miles per hour. You know.
Not much.
So
I did a prediction, Carlos, and it showed it just east of the airport runway, plus or minus a little bit.
Bill, you showed it that little point right here.
Yeah.
You showed it right in that little clear spot right there. Is where you're showing.
So the university students here launched K4 UAH-15 over the weekend, and it landed in a Martin Marietta stone quarry. I'm wondering just exactly what kind of material they are mining out of that, if it's Martin Marietta.
I don't know.
But I once landed a balloon in New Hampshire. Did I say that right, Bill?
New Hampshire.
Yeah, you did, man.
I lived in New Hampshire. And
okay.
Peterborough, New Hampshire, when I worked for Wayne Green. And we launched a balloon. There was no GPS on it, but it was a simplex repeater. You talk to it, and it sends a signal back. And so it was during field day, and it landed near Nashua. And I drove down one road, and all of a sudden it was a big signal. Then 100 feet later, it was gone. I drove down another road about a mile to the east, big signal, then it was gone. It was the weirdest thing. It was 2 fans of RF, 2 narrow bands of RF. So it was right around dusk, getting dark. I had my DF equipment out, trying to home in on it. when I noticed that the next step I was about to take looked very black. The ground looked very black.
Whoa.
And I decided not to put my foot down in that black area. I said, I better go back and get a flashlight because this doesn't look good. So I went back to my car, got my flashlight, and walked back to where that edge of blackness occurred. And it was an 80-foot cliff in a stone quarry.
Yeah, that would have probably done a little more damage to you than shopping carts.
Yeah. So then I found the access road, and it was right in the very bottom of an 80-foot deep stone quarry, and the signal was coming up the access ramps.
Wow.
And that was the only signal was coming out where the access roads were to go down into the quarry. But 80 feet below ground, and I could still pick it up from a half mile away. And I got it back, and which is great because it was heavily forested. It would have been high up in a tree, but it was an easy recovery at the bottom of the stone quarry. But that was
if you had gone back for the flashlight, you would have been able to find it about 15 minutes earlier.
They would have found me and the payload together.
Yeah, 2 in 1.
That's a deal. Hey, Tom, for your new balloon, since you had a problem with the gas intake, have you considered building any alternate kind of gas intake? You know,
I was thinking about stealing the valve out of a football.
Out of a what?
Clamping that in.
Out of a what?
Out of a football or a basketball, you know, the needle valve.
That takes forever to fill, though.
Well, yeah, and that would weigh a lot.
Yeah, but it won't leak.
Well, I'm not sure I have a leak. I had an explosion.
Once you pull the plug, it's not going to leak while you close it, tie it, seal it. It'll be sealed.
That one that we blew up, I fed it right in the center across the bottom. You saw it was bunched together. I think I'm going to seal that bottom up, and I'm going to move the fill over to the very, right side at the corner. The pressure seems to be much lower at the corner right there, and I don't have to bunch up quite as much material there. I can bunch it up really tight, tie wrap it really tight. I can fold it back and then tie wrap it again. That seems to do fairly good, I think.
That's what I was thinking about, was going to one of those corners so that you could get a nice flat seam across the bottom.
Yeah. So that's the next step, is to put a flat seam across there. You know, we're talking about tubes a while ago. That reminds me, Alan Weiner up at WBCQ, he was talking the other day. You know, they just built that new transmitter that he has on 9330. And probably the largest shortwave antenna in the Americas. If you've ever seen this thing, it's a rotatable. Things like 25 dB gain. It's rotatable, but it'll run 500,000 watts. And hey, the night he was on the show here, we were testing that new transmitter, and we were running low power. He was running only 100,000 watts on the big antenna. And we had people in Australia in a chat room listening to us down in Australia that night. But what I was going to mention was he was talking about the tube that goes in it. The tube costs $250,000. $250,000 for the tube. Man.
Well, you try to squeeze all the goodie out of those you can.
That's right, man. That's right.
Run them at half filament voltage.
I may talk to him. Maybe I can get a pull-out. When it gets a little weak, maybe I can get it from him and build up an ampere with it. Of course, I'll need something like 100,000 volts at a few amps to go on it. I don't know. May not be worth it.
Call TVA. They'll hook you up.
Yeah. You know, when I was a novice,
I'm sure I can get you hooked up.
When I was a novice, there was this general class in my little town of 900 people, and he was a home brewer, and he built amplifiers. And I'd go over there and I'd see them, the big gas tube. I'm not sure if it was a rectifier. I think they were rectifiers. They may have been regulators, but both. Anyway, he used a pole pig and for a transformer. And if you don't know what a pole pig is, it's the transformer out on your pole. That's down in a bucket with oil around it. And if you take that transformer out of there, it's a little smaller, but it still probably weighs 80 pounds. Anyway, so let's just say you got 7,000 volts up there, and it comes out 220. So you just take that pole pig transformer and you put 220 in, and you get 7,000 volts out. And he ran a pole pig, and he had like 5 or 6 or 8 kids, little kids running around the house all the time. And he had that thing sitting there right by his desk, that pole pig, and all the cables and wires coming up and stuff. And I don't know how they survived it over there, man.
We had one of
A
those.
giant bug zapper in the room.
Yeah. It'd be more than a bug zapper.
When I was in high school, we had one of those in the electricity class I was in that the local electric co-op gave us. Little did we know that it was full of PCB oil.
Yeah.
Because nobody knew about PCBs back then. But I'll tell you, that was great penetrating oil.
Yeah, and if you've got an old Cantena, an old Heathkit Cantena, the gallon bucket, people they used to put the oil in there that had PCB or whatever, and
same stuff.
And now I think I don't know. I think you just use mineral oil or something like that in them.
Something like that.
Let's just make an announcement real quick to all of our guests out there listening on WBCQ 7490. This is Amateur Radio Roundtable. It's a show about ham radio, and we're just having a good time tonight talking about a lot of different things. And we appreciate you joining us on the show tonight. If you're listening out there on shortwave, please send us an email to tom@w5kub.com. tom@w5 Kilo Uniform Bravo.com. Tell us where you are and give us a signal report. Love to hear from you. All right, did we have anybody else join us here? I don't see anybody else. Let's see, maybe. Who we got?
I thought I'd say something anyway.
There we go. We got Mike in here. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, and just listen to you guys go back and forth a bunch of balloons and stuff, and then involved. So just a whole lot of comments. So I just sit here and listen, take it in. I missed the whole show again as usual, but jumped in for now. I have to watch it on repeat, or as we say on Memorex.
Yeah, I'm trying to adjust the camera here because I've got all you got. You're kind of off the picture. Let me do that. Let me do that. Let me bring you over like this. That should bring you back. There we go. That's much better. All right. So how's things going up here, Mike? You had any major snows or anything?
How come everybody, you guys down there, just assume we get snow automatically?
Well,
no, not yet. But it'll be
not yet, huh? Well,
yeah.
I'll
be getting the snowblower out next week. I'll do what I call my dry run up and down the driveway. Make sure it's all fired up, ready to go. Put it in back in, pull it into the garage, so it's, as I call it, in a ready position. So when the flakes come down, we can clear them.
All right, man. Hey, are you still riding your motorcycle?
I haven't had a bike in about 5 years.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
No.
Well, and you just decide that it's better not to have one, or what happened?
I rode a motorcycle from the time I was 15, 16. When I was on the police department, I rode on duty on a bike and everything. So my goal wing, the last one I had, was getting old, and I figured it was time to sell it. And I said, if I ever want another motorcycle, there's one for sale somewhere. But I guess I'm pretty well set with not having a bike anymore.
Yeah, most of my friends that had motorcycles have, I don't know if they've learned or basically decided that probably it's better that they don't keep riding them, because sooner or later,
There I am.
Yeah, I see that. That's cool, man. Now, it'd been much cooler if you'd had a sidecar on there. You know.
Yeah, that was in my former life.
So did you actually chase people in that thing like speeders?
Oh yeah, and did full duty on it just as I was in the car.
Oh wow, man. Well, that's kind of cool, man.
You just had to be real careful when I went with lights and sirens to an event because people are used to watching for a fire truck or a police car or ambulance or something, and they're not watching for a motorcycle going through with lights and sirens. So I had to be real careful when I approached the intersection that I had to get through. That I made sure everybody saw that I'm there, and so.
All right. I guess probably being on one that long, you had to lay it down a couple times.
Well, I've laid it down, but really not while I was moving. It's the old kickstand didn't get put all the way down right.
Oh yeah.
Over its side. I've been on motorcycles where I've almost had to lay it down. I had one guy pull it in front of me on my own bike one time, and I was ready to lay it down. I was already standing up on the pegs with my leg out. If it went down, I was going to be on top of it. Luckily, it wasn't in a high-speed traffic area, but I kept it up. But yeah, that's the other joys of a motorcycle riding.
Yeah. Well, I had one. I rode it out. I didn't ride on a highway. I rode it out in the fields and places like that. And it's kind of neat. You know, at night you get out those cotton fields and put that headlight on and go out there, and those rabbits start running out there, and you start chasing those rabbits, on that motorcycle.
Yeah, but you can't ride 100 miles an hour.
I found out you can't even ride 30 miles an hour sometimes, or you go over the handlebars.
Yeah, I've been out on that bike,
especially
bikes at over 100 miles an hour on the road.
Especially in a cotton field, you're gonna at some point, you might go over the handlebars.
I was reading, speaking about rabbits and stuff. I was reading an article today talking about how because of the lack of ammunition and hunting, that they are predicting that 1 in 57 cars on Mississippi highways will be attacked by a deer this year.
Yeah, I got attacked by a deer. It about wiped my pickup truck out, man.
1 in 57. Gee.
Well, we just
had a deer. I was driving down a little country highway here, and all of a sudden I saw a 5-point antler right in front of my windshield. It had hit the front of my headlight and rolled up and fortunately bounced off. And he was alive. He headed off into the woods, but just boom. And
I've hit a few of them in my car.
Did a lot of damage to the car.
Yeah. Well,
when I go into the insurance and turn them in, well, up here in the Upper Peninsula, we're all called Yoopers, Y-O-O-P-E-R, Yoopers, the way they call it. Called the insurance company up, and I said, I got a Yooper accident report. And they said, oh, where'd you hit your deer?
Yeah. Well, we've got them all, even in my little town here, they're all in my backyard. They're running down my street. They're everywhere. And the one I hit a year or so ago, I was driving probably about 35 miles an hour. I didn't even see it come out. I didn't see it come out, man. I didn't know if I'd hit a person or what until I saw the little hair and it, kind of come above the hood there. But man, I mean, it's amazing how vehicles now get damaged so much with so little. This was probably a mid-sized deer, and then it took out. It took out my radiator. It took out the air conditioner evaporator coil. It bent part of the front frame. It took out the grill. It did something to the lights. Man,
there's nothing worse.
The thing you don't want to hit up here is a moose.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than driving over an armadillo, because when you drive over them, they go up, they jump up.
Yeah.
If they just stayed where they were, they'd be fine. But they jump up, and you hear this horrible crunching sound underneath your car.
I've seen videos where the deer or whatever, jump like over the road, and they come through the windshield and they come inside the car with you.
Yeah, I got one better for you. Down in Florida, used to work at Pratt Whitney Aircraft Government Research, and there's a 5-mile stretch of Everglades Road from the manufacturing building down to the test areas. And gators were always crossing the road. And one of my buddies decided to take on a gator with his AMC Pacer. The Pacer completely lost.
Yeah.
The gator literally ripped the whole underside of that car out.
Did all the glass pop out of it?
And then he was trying to get to the Chewy Center.
Man.
So, yeah, I'd rather hit an armadillo than the gator.
All right, so everybody out there listening tonight, you can see we went from ham radio to deers and alligators.
Armadillos.
And armadillos. It's the end of the show, guys. We ran out of stuff to talk about tonight, so we moved on to animals.
Next episode, we're going to have recipes on how to cook the roadkill.
That's right.
Yeah, they've got those books are out.
Yeah. Roadkill for the holidays.
That's right. Hey, thanks everybody for watching out there tonight, and also thank you for tuning in on WBCQ and Shortwave. We're glad you joined us, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining. Let's see, Glenn. I don't have your video queued up anymore, but I already queue that thing up.
I'm gonna have to try to put aluminum foil on the cat.
Yeah. Well, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and sign out, and thank you for being with us tonight. Had fun tonight, as always.
It's popcorn night.
We'll see you next week.
Thanks, I'm going to have to rewatch the video from what I missed earlier, so that must have been important stuff that I missed.
The real important stuff was in the first few minutes, especially where we explode. Where we explode this guy right. Let's see. Well, there I am standing next to it. That's
somebody in the chat room made a comment, Tom. Goodyear would like to have their blimp back.
Have the what? Blimp back? Yeah, that's W5KUB 101. It's going to be launched here in the next week, and let's just say we blew the end out of it. We lost about a foot of it.
You know, Glenn, I may have told this on a show about a year ago, but I had a friend who was a blimp pilot who was also a ham. And he was flying over Candlestick Park, and I lived in the Berkeley Hills, and I could see him flying. And I had a girl over, and I said, and I held up my ICOM 2AT, and I said, this is the most powerful remote control device in the world. You see that blimp over there?
Yeah.
I said, blimp up, and the blimp went, me.
Oh, man, that's cool.
Blimp down, and it went, me. Blimp left, it went left. And she was super impressed. And I had prearranged this before she came over with my friend.